Hi, Eric Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I am in La Gomera, one of the Canary Islands, and I came here to record YouTube videos and also test some gear. Okay, and here I've got a lens, the TTArtisan 25mm F2. So I'm going to speak about it. I tested it here in La Gomera and also in Tenerife, but for this we're going to go with my small office behind my camping car that's just here. Okay, so we're going to record inside. So let's carry on. So welcome on board, but this is temporary, this is not finished, will not look like this. I had it for several months, but I had no time to refurbish it, change the look, all this, but doesn't matter. To speak between you and me about this magnificent lens, if we look at the build, fully metal, even the cap is metal, we can be here, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to give you my impression, show you some pictures I made in Tenerife and in La Gomera. And this lens is so cheap, between 50 and something up to 60 euros, depends where you buy it. I'll leave you links anywhere where you can buy it, okay? So it's really, really affordable. So the big question is it worth spending 60 euros or 50 and something euros, or save them to buy something better, a bit more expensive? So we're going to speak about it and see the results. So let's carry on. So let's speak about the lens. As you can see, as I showed before, it's fully metal, really small, really like a pancake almost. Okay, it's really similar to the one I presented, the 50mm F2 I presented a couple of months or a month ago, I'm not sure, a few weeks ago, I'm not sure. Here's the link anyway. So as you can see, it goes from F2 to F16. It's clickable, the ring for aperture is clickable. Here you have the manual focus, it's only manual lens, okay, and it's smooth, not too stiff, not too smooth, that's fine. But when you get to infinity, it's really easy to touch the aperture ring at the same time. You get used to it, no problem, okay? But if you see that the exposure is changing, probably you've touched the aperture ring without noticing it, okay? That's the reason, okay? So not much more to tell about the build, okay? That's really a nice build. So now we're going to look at the image quality, because it's not just a matter of price. Is the image quality enough to justify buying a lens like this? So let's check it, okay? So as you can see, it's really small, really nice. So as I said at the beginning, I tested it on Fujifilm X E1, but it exists in Fujifilm X mount, Sony E, EOS, Canon EOS M, Micro Four Thirds, Nikon Z, Canon RF, and L, which is Leica, Sigma, and Lumix. Very important, this lens is an APS-C lens. It means if you mount it on a full frame Canon R, it will mount, but you will have like a circle because it doesn't cover the sensor. Same thing with Nikon Z or Sony E, okay? So you should, if you use a Canon, well, use for R7, R50 or R10, for example, that will be fine, but not if you put it on an R5, R6, okay? What is equivalent in full frame? Well, with APS-C 1.5, that would be equivalent of 37.5 full frame, okay, millimeter in full frame. If we look at Canon APS-C, which is a 1.6 crop, in this case would be 40mm equivalent. And if we look at Micro Four Thirds, would be like 50mm equivalent. The filter size is 43mm, okay? It goes from F2 to F16, as I said, with click. I like it, I love clicks, okay? It has, the aperture has 7 blades. It doesn't give a bad bokeh, it's creamy, that's okay, but it's not like the really nice round bulb, okay? Light bulb, that's fine for me. This kind of focal length, the idea is not to get crazy shallow depth of field, but if you need it, you have it, okay? That's acceptable. If we look at the optical part, it's 7 elements in 5 groups, and it will cover 61 degrees angle in APS-C 1.5, like this Fujifilm or Sony or Nikon, okay? A bit less if we look at the Canon APS-C, and a lot less if we look at Micro Four Thirds, okay? The weight, it's not very heavy, but it's not really light. I mean, when you look at the size, you expect something a lot lighter, but it's not heavy either, okay? Depending on the mount you choose, you get from 160 up to 180 grams, okay? So we're going to look at the optical quality, the image quality, the result we get, and if it's worth it. So let's carry on. If you have not done it yet, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button down here, so small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. That really motivates me, and thank you for it. So let's carry on. As this lens is a manual lens, it's really important that you activate, depending on the camera you're going to use, that in Fuji, for example, you have to activate the option to shoot without lens. As there is no electronic contact for the camera, it's same as there was no lens, okay? So it depends on the camera you have, the mount you choose, all this. And also, I recommend you activate any manual focusing help, like focus picking or the magnifying glass, okay? That really helps, and you actually need it to really focus properly. So check your camera user manual and see how you activate all that, and you will be able to enjoy manual focusing with this lens, okay? So let's carry on. So let's speak about the image quality. Well, honestly, this is not the best image quality you're going to meet, okay? But let's see if it's okay for you or not. Let's look at distortion. Distortion was the first thing I noticed. It is important. If you look at the brick wall, you really see distortion. And if you look at this landscape, seascape, you see the horizon is really like curved, okay? Is it a problem? Well, it can be corrected in post-production, but if you have to correct every picture, maybe that's a problem. So maybe this lens, if you do a lot of seascape or architecture photography and you need to be precise, that's probably not the lens for you, okay? But still, for many other applications, that's completely fine. It just depends on the type of picture you make more than anything else, okay? Chromatic aberration. There is chromatic aberration. If you check picture against light, you will notice this some kind of blue purple fringing. It's there, it's present at, I would say, almost all aperture. Is it a problem for you? Depends what you do, okay? Vignetting. Yes, there is a lot of vignetting at f2, 2.8, f4, and then it stops, okay? So vignetting, if you make like landscape or a panoramic picture, that could be a problem. But it's easily corrected in post-production. But yes, there is vignetting. Bokeh. Well, bokeh is acceptable. That's not the crazy bokeh, but that's creamy enough. I would not say the light bulb are really round, not really. But I don't think this is the focal length you would choose for crazy bokeh, but that's fine, okay? Sharpness. Well, here are two portraits of my daughters, Opie and Pino. Most people know Pino because she appears in several of my videos. Opie, not as many people see her, okay? I've seen her. So when you make portrait there, you do see the sharpness in the center is fine, okay? On the border, that's not that good, but anyway, when you use this lens for portrait, it doesn't matter that the borders are not sharp, because anyway, they will be out of focus. The problem is not on this kind of picture. It's actually if you make like an f2 picture of a landscape and the borders are not sharp at all, okay? Or you make reproduction of a picture or a reproduction of a painting, then that's a problem if you make it at maximum aperture. Obviously, normally you don't do landscape at f2, you don't do painting reproduction at f2, you probably work at f8, so that's not a problem. But you need to know that if you want sharpness on the corners, at maximum aperture it's not there. It will start battering at 5.6 f8, I would say, okay? Before, that's not there, okay? If we look at flare, yes, there is a lot of flare, but sometimes you don't even see flare, you just see that there is less contrast. It's like milky, okay? So if you really want contrasty picture in bright situation, that's a problem, okay? You can always use clarity in post-production to better it, but you have to do it, okay? Otherwise, it's not that contrasty, okay? And if you have a light source like the sun or a lamp or whatever, you will notice some serious flare. Is it a problem? Well, same thing as always. Depends on what you do and what you like, okay? But you need to know that, yes, there is some flare, okay? So, who is this lens for? Well, basically, if you want to do architecture or seascape, I would not recommend it because of the distortion, okay? If you do portrait, obviously, I don't speak about close portrait because on this focal length, that's not recommended to close portrait, but like a souvenir picture as I made to my daughters in the restaurant, that's fine, that's okay. I would not use it for architecture, as I said before. I would probably use it for street photography, that's fine, or vacation photography, travel photography, just go around, make a few pictures from here, from there, that's fine, okay? So for this, that's okay. So is it a recommendable lens? Well, it all depends. If you really need quality, that's not the lens for you, okay? But can you afford to pay from 3 to 10 times more money for this focal length? If you can, go for it. Don't even think about it, get something a bit better. if you cannot afford better or you don't want, so that sometimes it's not just that you can, or sometimes you don't want to spend more money than this, then go for that. I mean, it's better to have a lens like this than no lens, okay? And anyway, I think people say you could get a vintage lens, but then if you add the adapter, maybe there is some fungus in there, all this. Honestly, this is fine for people who want, as I explained, okay? That's fine. But if you can afford better, go for something better. Even TTArtisan, they have some other lenses that I think are better than this one, okay? So I think, is it recommendable? For what I said, yes. For the purpose I said, yes. But honestly, if you can afford to spend a bit more money, or I would say maybe a lot more money, go for it, okay? It also depends on the frequency you use this lens. It's not something you use often, like this focal length. I normally don't use it. Maybe 10 pictures a year. Buy this. If you use it every day, save a bit of money and get something a bit better, okay? So I think, if you're interested, I'll leave you links of where you can, in description, links where you can buy it. So as you know, depends on you whether it's a lens for you or not. For me, for the price it has, that's fine, okay? But yeah, okay, it has some serious limitation, okay? So thank you so much, TTArtisan, for sending me the lens. Thank you very much to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button down here is a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott, and also some affiliated links, including the TTArtisan, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.